By the end of this video, you will have an empowering way to work with depressing thoughts. In other words, nonclinical depression. I'm Richard Chandler, and I'm a psychotherapist with a master's degree and a licensed professional counselor in the state of Minnesota. Before we talk about what works very well, let's talk about clinical depression briefly. Clinical depression is a mental illness that can be treated through medications and therapy, and not addressing it and thinking that you can work this out alone is not likely to work and is unfair to you and to your loved ones. And not seeking professional help may also be unsafe. So what are some signs? If your sleeping patterns have changed, you've become much more fatigued, and either you're sleeping all the time and still tired, or not sleeping at all hardly and tired. Either way, that could be a sign. Another sign could be your appetite. Has your appetite been increased so you're hungry all the time and maybe eating a lot of junk food? Or have you lost your appetite and hardly anything looks good? If you have those signs, along with lots of disempowering thoughts, seek help right away. It's imperative that you do. Now, for what can work if you just have depressing thoughts, and that would be to think of depression not so much as a noun, but as a verb. Instead of thinking of it like a cloud that came over you and rained down awfulness, instead think, no, this is something I'm doing. I am in the act of depressing as a verb. I am depressing as a verb. Not saying that you're a depressing individual, but you are in the act of. You're engaged in a thinking process of generating thoughts that lower your mood. In other words, depressing thoughts. One way to visualize this is to think of what you've probably had for yourself at some point when the doctor pushed a popsicle stick looking thing, a little wider than a popsicle stick, down on your tongue. That's, by the way, called a depressor. And that enabled the doctor then to look inside your throat for illness. So visualize a huge popsicle stick, and you're going to take this huge popsicle stick and you're going to push it downward, lowering your mood. And that, in fact, is what you've been doing when you've been depressing. So if you can do that and take responsibility for it, you can say, yeah, I am depressing. That's what I've been doing. I've been generating those disempowering thoughts, thoughts that often have the quality of being stuck, like the future won't be any different than it is now. It's going to be the same old stuff, and what I'm experiencing now is no fun, so there'll be no future with fun either. Those kinds of thoughts. If you've been having those thoughts, just say, oh, I am depressing. I'm having those thoughts. And if you can do that, you can change them. Now, one way to know that you can change them is to try to keep them going. So when you're having those thoughts, have them very, very consciously. Just notice, oh yeah, I'm thinking that all right. Yep, I'm thinking the future is not going to change. That's what I'm thinking all right. And just notice that from a more detached place, and you'll see that it's hard to sustain when you look at it more objectively. So improving your relationship with yourself is a matter of communicating with yourself in ways that are more empowering, uplifting, and give some brightness to the future. And I invite you to do that. And if you can do that with yourself, you'll notice that all your relationships will also improve, and people will be happier that you're happier.